am back in the Outer Banks. It is super windy today, but I'm going to try and get on the water anyway. But I want to talk about something that has come up in the comments. The nice thing about my channel is that it's small enough in terms of viewership that I can pretty much respond to comments right away, and in this case, incorporate them into a video. So the video that I posted a few weeks ago for new paddlers about what to bring paddling got a couple of comments about things that I take paddling with me. And it's not an easy answer, and I don't have all the answers, but let's talk about it anyway. Let's go. Blowing at 20, gusting to 25 with a lot of fetch. So a nice sort of 2-foot swell that's just starting to break. Not ideal paddling into it, but it'll be a fun, quick paddle back. So on a day like this, when conditions are really big, I make some interesting calls as to what I bring with me. I'm bringing a very minimal set. Bilge pump, paddle float, and whatever is in my PFD, which is whistle, rescue stroke, personal locator beacon. And the reason for that is I'm never going to be more than a half a mile from the van, and the wind is going to push me to the van. So if something really bad happens and I can only drift, I'll end up back on the right beach. And this is sort of flouting all common sense. This is because I'm super comfortable in the conditions and the situation that I've set up for myself. Risk management is about judging your skills versus what you're seeing. I really can't stop paddling or I'll end up going backwards. But this is not a good call for most paddlers. This is a rule that I break. I would do it very differently if this were even a single overnight trip. Okay, I'm at the point I picked to paddle to, which is this really big duck line. And I'm just going to loop around it and ride the wind back. It should be a lot of fun. It should be also a lot quicker. Okay, so that brings up a point of the comments that I got. I got a great comment from someone who said in his PFD he keeps his car keys and his phone and a small first aid kit. And my concern there is just, keeping stuff dry, but also your PFD getting really big and heavy. On another video, I got dinged by someone who said I shouldn't be wearing a PFD with pockets at all. He also said that I should be using a paddle leash, which is pretty outdated tech. Their paddle leashes connect the boat to the paddle, so you don't have to worry about losing your paddle. But particularly in rough water, people get tangled in them, and it's super dangerous. I thought it was also interesting that the same person chided me for having a knife on my PFD and blamed it on me being an American. So that person has been blocked from the channel. I'm happy to have people who disagree with me, but he was really derogatory and kind of mean. And so I blocked him from the channel, which is the first time I've ever had to do that, and hopefully the last time I ever have to do that. I had another commenter on another video to ask about my go bag, like the bag that lives in the cockpit of the boat, in case something really bad happens or I get separated from my boat. There are some problems with that concept in that if I'm separated from my boat, I may not be able to grab the go bag. And to the people who said that I should have more stuff in here, the keys, the phone, the first aid kit, it's a valid point, because a lot of paddlers sort of use the rule that if you're not wearing it, you don't really have it because you could get separated from your boat. My nightmare in life is getting separated from this boat in open water. If you're floating in the water, you are really just your head and shoulders are visible. Ooh, keep the boat straight, Brett. Are visible, making it almost impossible for searchers to find you. I talked to a Coast Guard helicopter pilot who does search and rescue, and she was like, it totally happens. Like, my concern is the helicopter flying over my head 50 feet above me and never seeing me. And she was like, it totally happens. So that's why I bought a really nice rescue strobe, and I need a PLB. I haven't actually bought a PLB yet. So there's no great answer to this. There's no one answer. Like, so when I'm doing a multi-day trip, yes, I have a dry bag in here with a first aid kit and with water and stuff like that. But if I were to get separated from my boat, I don't know that I could grab it. I really just don't want to get separated from my boat. That's my primary goal. And then, yeah, super emergency stuff I keep in here, but there's no one answer to this. So you have to sort of figure out what works for you, what your level of comfort is. I invite you, please, in the comments down below, please tell me what you do and how you handle these situations. It's not an easy question to answer. And I have yet to see anyone that does it right. Or completely right, you know? I think it depends on the situation. So as I said, for this, very minimal gear outfitting, right? But if I were traveling point to point, I would have way more gear in this boat with me. And if I were doing multi-day, I'd have even more of it, and it would be super accessible and easy to get to.
Hey, I wanted to just throw one idea out here, which is when I'm packing my kayak, in terms of the gear that I need or the gear that I'm packing, the more important it is in terms of safety, the closer it is to me. So like rescue strobe and potentially personal locator beacon and whistle are connected to me. So if I'm separated from the boat, I still have those things. First aid kit, water is within, and calories, so snack food, power bar, something like that, is in a dry bag within reach in the cockpit. Under the deck hatches are things that I might need easy access to. So I always have food, stove, fuel close to the deck hatches. So if I open that hatch up, I've got everything I need to make a meal in a hurry. And I've needed to do that a number of times.
So this just got a little epic. We're probably 11 or 12 miles in for the day. It's 5 o'clock. We are nowhere near a campsite. We are stopping on this little tiny beach to have dinner, and then we're going to keep paddling. It's going to be a long night, but should be interesting. First dinner?
Uh-huh.
Show me first dinner.
First dinner.
This follows the concept of if you're not really wearing it, you don't have it, right? So in theory, personal locator beacon, I'm still working on which one I'm going to get. Personal locator beacon is on me. Rescue strobe is on me. Whistle is on me. There is no way I could lose those things. It brings up the question, though, should I have cell phone on me? I guess if I washed ashore, like I couldn't use my cell phone floating in the water away from my kayak because it would immediately get wet and be garbage. So that's why I put it in a dry bag. but it could be in something waterproof in my PFD. In some cases, I think there are waterproof bags where I could use that cell phone, but that would not be easy to do floating in the water. In theory, if I washed up onto a beach and it wasn't my beach, I would at least then have my cell phone. It's a very fluid situation in terms of how to pack your gear and what is best for you and what you're doing at any given moment. Okay, back to the video.
And so I use sort of a sliding scale based on what I'm doing, what I'm planning on doing, what the conditions are like, you know. And if I were in surf, if I were doing a day paddle in surf, which I don't do very often, I would have nothing in the boat because it would just get washed away if I got out of the boat, right? So it depends, for me, the way I think about it is it depends on the risks you're exposed to, your comfort with those risks. Let's get the boat straight again. And sort of the best deal for the situation. And so that's my advice to you, is to figure out what is best for you. Maybe use the way that I do it as a guideline, but if at any point your gut says, you know, I don't like that, then you need to figure out what works well for you. So I don't think that there is one mandate, this is what you do. Though I really do like the concept of if you're not wearing it, you don't have it, which is why I think the super important rescue stuff has to be on your person. So yeah, okay, so that's where I am in terms of a difficult conversation, one that I don't have all the answers to. If you have the answers or think you do, please put them in the comments below. While you're down there, hit like and hit subscribe, and I guess I'll see you on the water. But I am really curious as to what people think or how people are handling their loadouts for stuff like this. Let me know down below. All right, I'll see you outside.